So I'm going to be doing something a little bit differently. I have a blog over at ekumphrey.wordpress.com, and I write about books. I have a monthly segment where I pick 10 of the books that are hanging around my house that I keep meaning to read and I haven't yet, and then as I read through them, I review them. And I had a thought last night that I thought it would be fun to do a video review to go along with my written review, just because I can express some things that you can't quite do in writing. The writing review is more formal. This is more me talking about the book, what I liked, what I didn't like. So we're gonna give it a shot. If you ask me questions about from my written review over on my blog, I will answer them in my video. And if I don't get to them by the time I do the video, I will answer you either there or in a separate video. Okay, without further ado, here we go. Today I'm going to be doing Iron Angel by Alan Campbell. It is the sequel to Scar Knight. And I read Scar Knight several years ago. I loved the cover. And I mean, just the idea of a city suspended above chains above an endless abyss, which people think is heaven, was really interesting to me. It was really fascinating, so I picked it up, and then didn't read it for a long time. And I think I'd bought Iron Angel before I actually read Scar Knight. And then I read it, and Scar Knight was okay, but I didn't really want to read Iron Angel at the time, so I moved on. Years passed, kept staring at it, read Scar Knight again, intending to catch up before reading Iron Angel. Enjoyed Scar Knight much more the second time than I did the first time. Still didn't pick up Iron Angel, and then about a week ago I was like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to read Iron Angel. It keeps staring at me. I want to read it. It does sound interesting. I don't know why I haven't done it. So I read it, and I liked it. Had its issues. It suffered from kind of the same issues that Scar Knight did. Scar Knight, not a lot of character development from start to finish. Kind of a rushed ending. But overall it was good. So, things I liked about Iron Angel were I really love the characters. Dill, who was a main character in Scar Knight, is much more interesting in this than he was in Scar Knight. In Scar Knight, he's kind of a wimpy little, I'm doing this because it's my birth heritage, but I don't really want to do it type of character, and he never really grew beyond that. He never really had to. In Iron Angel, the majority of the time you spend with him, he's in hell. He didn't have a choice but to kind of grow up. But there's still a disconnect between why, but I'll talk about that in a minute. Still like Rachel, you meet a couple of gods, as opposed to priests and a bunch of angels and carnival that you met in Scar Knight. You spend more time with gods, and the gods are awesome. You spend a lot of time in parts 2 and 3 with the god Hasp, who is like this big warrior angel, like big brother to some of the other gods. There are 7 that are brothers. And he was cool. We meet John Anchor, who is a giant who eats souls, literally, to carry this giant skyship that holds a god, because the god isn't strong enough to leave his domain yet. That's all explained. The characters are amazing, and so is the technology. It's very steampunkish in a different way than Scar Knight. Scar Knight was kind of like gothic fantasy. This is more steampunk, reality. Not reality, but, you know, fantasy meets technology, which is cool. Just the name alone, obviously, Iron Angel, and you can see on the cover, like, there's a soul in there, you find out. It's cool, but he's propelled by magic as well as engines, which I thought was awesome. And then they have some other technology that I wish Alan Campbell had explained a little more, like Hasp gets captured at one point, and they strip him, apparently, of his skin and of his organs, but his blood system remains, and then his blood system is put in glass, and then he has glass armor, but if, you fall, go bump in the road, die. And he has a parasite in his head that makes him obey the people that the god of Helm and Noah has decided for him to do. It's just this really interesting concepts. I really wish he had explained the technology more. It seemed too much like there was because magic, because fiction for it. But if you can suspend your disbelief for the sake of fiction, it's really good, it's really interesting, it's really vivid. Some of the stuff I didn't like is I didn't like some of the stuff he chose to describe as opposed to some of the stuff he didn't. He would spend pages on landscape, which is cool, but then It didn't describe the technology. He mentions a bunch of demons that work for this hell god Manoa. It never describes what they look like, which okay, if they weren't important. But later he says, and he looked like a blister man. I'm like, but I don't know what a blister man looks like because you didn't tell me. Tell me what this guy looks like, but I don't have the comparison, and he rushed the ending again, which I was really disappointed in because I was really into it. But basically, this whole book is building up to this epic battle, like whatcha, gods and demons and heaven and hell and huge, like 4,000 feet tall archons are going to come and they're going to fight, and it's building up this whole time. And then the battle starts 10 pages before the end of the book, and then the book ends. And the battle doesn't end. The battle is really just only kind of beginning. It started, but it hasn't reached its apex or so to speak yet. But I was just like, well, okay, then cut off earlier and put it into the last book, or continue. And I know why he did it. He ended it on a cliffhanger, big giant archons climbing out of the earth, which is cool. I really enjoyed it, but at the same time I was like, why did you end there? It's kind of a cliffhanger for cliffhanger's sake. And again, another thing I didn't like is there wasn't a lot of character development. The characters never really grew as they went on. They don't really change, with the exception of one character who didn't grow in a way that made any sense. You meet her on about page 5 of Iron Angel. Her name's Mina Green, and she's torturing a demon. And you think, that's fine, but the demon is asking her not to. The demon is pleading, please, don't make me do this, and she's torturing it for money. She's a showwoman. She travels her cart around and, look at all the odd and crazy stuff that I have, And so she's doing that, and you're like, you're not a nice person. And then later you find her cart. She's not there. You find her cart, and she has resurrected, kind of, like some archons, and made them into mannequins. And they're hanging on a little puppet strings, and it's very sad. But she doesn't seem like a nice person. And then you meet her in hell, and she's awesome, and she helps save Dill, and she she's totally different than who she is in part 1 of the book, in parts 2 and 3. And that it's really jarring because there's no reason for it. I had to go back and check that I wasn't crazy, that Mina Green in hell was indeed the Mina Green that I'd met on page 5. And she was. And you get over that, you're like, Mina's awesome. I like Mina. Mina's really cool, and she's really smart, and she saves the god Hasp at one point from losing his mind, which is awesome. Like, you really like her, but you don't understand the who she was as opposed to who she is. And that bothers me. But we'll see what happens in God of Clocks, which is the 3rd book, which will probably be my next book if I don't finish Gold Compass by Philip Pullman first. And so I'll let you know if it stood up, because I think the quality of Iron Angel will very much depend on how God of Clocks goes, because it is a middle book, even though it doesn't suffer from middle book syndrome, which is another thing I really like about it. So there's my review. I hope you like it. If you like movie reviews, click the links in the description for Mockery of Life, my friend TJ. He does awesome movie reviews as well as some other game stuff. He's really cool. And go visit my blog and let me know what you thought. Alright, thanks. Bye.